Good afternoon. We can do better than that from an energy point of view. Good afternoon. That's better. I like that. So if you look at this, who's interested in these things? Raving fans, viral referrals, increased sales and increased profits. Of any interest? Yeah. The internet is an amazing thing and it's a cash spewing machine, but it's also getting more and more competition and it's getting more and more difficult. And as Dale mentioned, we need a way to stand out from the crowd. I've been lucky. I've been online since 2003, gone through doing a whole bunch of businesses of our own. Some were outstanding successes, some were outstanding failures. I think a few people will be able to relate to that. We've got to run an agency for many years. We got to run a coaching organisation for many years. And then more recently, I've kind of dropped off the grid a little bit, moved to Byron Bay, and I'm just doing the internet marketer thing, and I'm really working on my surfing and guitar. So it's kind of like main focuses at the moment. But why I say that is because when I tell you stuff, nothing is based off theory. It's all based off what's really, really working right now. Now, this is probably better. So this is my team and partners in this particular business that I'm going to talk to you about. And we've done over 200 million in sales using this exact strategy. I wasn't there right from the word go. I used to be their coach and now I'm their partner. I've only really been involved in the last 50 million or so of it over the last couple of years, and it's growing, scaling like that. So this marketing stuff really, really works. I think, it's not always easy, but if you stick at it, you really can create, the true lifestyle of your dreams, and I'm kind of, living proof of that right now. This was me, and I think, a lot of people have gone through this. I think in some ways business is a little bit like a game of chess. Sometimes you need to move here to then ultimately get there, to then get there. Who can relate to this? They've done the commute into town. It's not always nice. But I think it's really about like choosing a life. I really like this from Confucius. We have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. Does that make sense? So it's getting pretty deep, right off the word go. Oh, sorry, people won't see that. I'll go back. Yeah, it's very, very smart. So this is talking about do we want to do the same as everyone else and get the same results, or do we want to do something completely different? So think and act differently to get a completely different result. So if you want to be the 1%, you can't do the same as everyone else. It's just not going to work. So with anything success, everyone wants tactics, right? But the most important thing really isn't tactics. The most important thing is mindset. So your $1 million mindset and your emotions. One of my coaches, Pat Mesiti, was mindset coach of mine, said, you can't build $1 million business with a $2 mindset, and it's just so true. And mindset's as much as 80% of your success. So one of the things that I've learned to do, and I quote this over and over again, is think bigger thoughts, dream bigger dreams. And so that's why I love environments like this, because you come along and you see what other people are doing, and then you realize, hey, well, if they can do that, then, why can't I? That kind of thing. And you learn about better business models, better marketing strategies, that kind of stuff. And then figuring out, where do you want to go? And then what are you going to do to make it happen? All my life, I thought, especially in my younger life, and it's really a flawed thought, that you've got to be in the right spot at the right time. Who's heard that before? You've got to be in the right spot at the right time. But I've had examples in my life where I was in the right spot, and the same person was right beside me, a similar person was right beside me, and I saw an opportunity and they didn't. Okay, so why was that? We were both there at the same spot at the same time. And the reality is, because you've got to be the right person with the right mindset in the right spot at the right time. And why I say this is because what I'm going to show you, for some people here, this will rock your world. This will be the biggest change you'll make in your business in the next year, and it can absolutely skyrocket, catapult it. It can be massive, massive game changers. And then others will go, I learned about incentive-based marketing. So that's right. So, and it's not right for everyone, but for some people, this will be exactly you. And I know it was for me. We already spoke about this a little bit. If you want a different result, you can't do the same thing as everyone else, because everyone else is kind of getting an average result. One of the things that I learned through development from school through to now, as a student, I wasn't really that special. I got a TER, at about 70, meaning that I was better than 2/3 of the state, but there was still a third of people who were smarter than me, that kind of thing. But what I've learned is that the mind is kind of like a muscle. And if you just keep working it and you just keep working it, you can literally leave, the others behind. So it's really about that resilience and keeping going and keeping trying new stuff and not be afraid to say next. So we need a way to stand out from the crowd, because if anyone's searching for your business, so say, for example, following on from the Google, they're searching for you, what's a reason for them to choose you rather than anyone else? And for a lot of us, it's like, we've got better support, we've got better customer service, that kind of thing. They're all great, but that's if someone's kind of working with you and they find those things out, but they're not like, wow, that's exciting, wow, that's sexy, I'm going to choose them for sure. And they're also not the sorts of things that are going to get it spreading virally, that, these guys or these girls are amazing, that kind of stuff. So we need to think and act a little bit different so that really you're a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to choose you. Most businesses that I meet are just competing on price, but the problem with price is that it ends up a race to the bottom, and as you keep reducing price, what actually happens is you're reducing profit. So in business, we're actually in the capital multiplication business. Does that make sense? So we want to put capital in, we're going to allocate it as resources, and we're going to try and turn that capital into profit. If we keep our price going down to keep winning that, what's going to happen is we keep eroding our profit. So we don't want to do that. In some cases, it makes sense to be the cheapest, but as a general rule, it's better to be the best or wow and at a fair price than to be the cheapest all the time from a profitability point of view. So Dale mentioned incentives, incentive-based marketing, which I think is the next big wave, the next big thing in business, and you'll see why in a moment. But it's really like, instead of reducing price, what about if we add bonuses on top? And what about if we add bonuses that when we add them, they don't cost us any more to implement? Okay? Who remembers being a kid, and Christmas morning, and you got presents? How exciting was that, right? And for those of you who are parents, you'll still get to experience that through your kids. So presents, or in this case, we're talking about bonuses, but for adults, for your customers, is an amazing, amazing way to go. So I really believe that this is the next big thing in marketing, which is in incentive-based marketing. I think the most recent big change in marketing was with the automation of funnels, sales and marketing funnels. And one particular technology, which was ClickFunnels, I really believe that kind of changed the game in a major way. I'm going to show you what I believe is the next big change in marketing tool sets. So the best at incentive-based marketing in the world also happens to be the richest man in the world. So is that a coincidence? Who knows? But probably not. I would say, as a general rule, success leaves clues. So this is Jeff Bezos. His company obviously is Amazon.com. One of their best offerings is Amazon Prime. So with Amazon Prime, when he first introduced this, everyone kind of laughed at him. You're going to $60 to cover my shipping for the year, that kind of thing. But he knew what was going to happen was, once people paid for that, that was going to become their default way to buy, and then they were going to keep buying there again because they've already got their shipping paid for, and it's fast, 1 or 2 day shipping, that kind of thing. So everyone laughed at him. He didn't care. But then, rather than just have that amazing offer, he said, well, okay, say it costs $70 to $100 for Amazon Prime for the year. How can we make something that is even bigger value than that they get for free as a bonus or as an incentive if they buy this? So now you pay for Amazon Prime shipping and you get Amazon Prime Video and a whole bunch of other services which have got so Prime Video is just like Netflix. It has a greater value than the price you're paying, and you get that for free. Does that make sense how much better that offer now is? Okay, so then it really becomes a bit of a no-brainer offer. And you can do this in Australia now, and it's massive overseas. So that's one of the best examples of incentive-based marketing in the world. Who remembers this one at all? Anyone remember this? The football phone? So it's from the 80s. A lot of us are probably too young. Some of us will remember it well. And so what this was, Sports Illustrated, they needed a way of selling more magazine subscriptions. Their number one strategy at the time was the swimsuit edition. That was their big, got people in. This was coming into Christmas, and so one of the guys there came up with the idea of the football phone. And so it looks like a football, but it works like a phone. See, back then, phones had cords on them and stuff. bit old school, but it really, really worked. And so they did more than 1 million magazine subscriptions because they made the bonus the prize. Okay, so get a Sports Illustrated subscription and you'll get the football phone for free. Does that make sense? So you can see like there's a bit of a trend starting to happen here. McDonald's is one of the best examples in the world at this with their Happy Meal toys. I can't believe that no one's ever copied them. So basically what they're doing is they're taking the eye off the price. So, and they're making the bonus the prize. So say, for example, you're traveling down the road. Has everyone done those, like, whether it's an interstate trip or something like that, to go see the Rellos for Christmas, and you got the kids in the back and they're screaming and they're little, and then you just pull off the road and then there's the highway, the side of the highway. You go into Macca's and you see the Happy Meal, and if we get the kids the toy, that's going to be like an hour of peace and quiet. So what's an hour of peace and quiet worth? Say if you had to pay an extra $3 for your kid's burger. Who would pay an extra $3 for an hour's peace and quiet? Yeah, right. They're just across the board, every parent and their dog put their hands up, right? We all know how that feels. So what they've done is they've taken the eyes off the price. And instead of being a market of all fast food chains, they've brought it down to a market of just one. So if you're that exact person and you've got those little kids and you're in that scenario, then that's all you want. And it really, really works. So this one strategy is worth an extra $10 million per day to McDonald's with Happy Meals. So incentive-based marketing, it's not new. It's been done for a long time, but the problem is, as a general rule, there's been barriers to entry before. So previously, it's only been available to large corporates. So what's really, really changed in the last, so I would say, year, is that it's now available to SMBs, small and medium-sized businesses. So that's where it really a big difference. If I give you an incentive, so say, for example, you buy my $2,000 course and then I'm going to give you a free TV. That might get some people, but as a general rule, people are thinking, well, I've got a TV. I don't really need another one. Or whether it's a stereo or whether it's an iPhone or whatever it is, they've already kind of got it. But say, for example, you just got back from Fiji on holidays, and then here I go, I've got 2 tickets for you to Vanuatu. Like, most people will just turn back around and get straight back on the plane. Does that make sense? Like, holidays and what Americans call vacations is the very best incentive. And the reason why is because people don't care if they've just done one or they just had one. They're happy to do it again. Okay, so the very best incentive or bonus in the world that you can offer is holidays. The best example that I know of, a local marketing genius by the name of JD, John Dwyer. His client was the Greater Building Society at the time. They're now called the Greater Bank. And he was their marketing consultant. And he went into their boardroom and he threw the Happy Meal in the middle of the table. And he said to the board of directors, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, kids' toys, I can't see it work and that kind of thing. He's like, no, we're going to make the bonus the prize. And so where everyone else in the mortgage industry was competing on interest rates, which was a race to the bottom on what? On price. Okay, they didn't worry about what the interest rates were. They had a fair, good interest rate, but they just made it very, very similar. A similar offer, but it was switch to the Greater and get a free holiday. Does that make sense? So it gave you a reason to choose them. So would you rather go with them and get a free holiday, or would you rather go with this over here who's got 0.1% better interest rate? Does that make sense? You would generally choose the free holiday. So they did an extra $15 billion in loans over that. So say, for example, here, me and this lady down here, we're both competing for the same business. We got similar service, we got similar skills, but she is offering, if you go with her, you'll get a free vacation, a free holiday. And if you come with me, I'm going to give you great support and great customer service. So who are you going to choose? Like, she's going to crush me. She's going to win every time. Does that make sense? So you're basically giving them a reason to choose you. And you might think, okay, well, so if we talk about these hotels, resorts, why would hotels and resorts want to have anything to do with this? And the reason why is because, and what most people don't understand about the hotel industry, is this thing called vacancy. Okay, so the average hotel or resort has a 30 to 40% vacancy, meaning that 60 to 70% of the time they're full. Obviously, there's some weeks of the year like Christmas and stuff, pretty much everyone's chockers, but other than that, they're they're running at like 30% vacancy as a general rule. Okay, so what they do know is if we put people together, like we put people in those rooms, they go along and they spend money on whether it's, even if they got the room for free, they might spend money on breakfast, on dinner. They might buy wine there. They could book a trip, that kind of stuff. By putting a couple in there or a family in that room that they were going to make nothing on, they might now make a couple $100. And if they do that times 10 in a week or times 20, then all of a sudden it starts to add up as another income stream. It's just basically their dead inventory is what we're giving away. So that's basically, how it works. So it's an amazing win-win-win. So whereas the hotel wins, the business owner wins, and also the customer wins. And I'll show you how this works. So we spoke about this already. The hotel and resort wins because these were dead rooms. They weren't sold. So they've got their existing costs already, whether it's maintenance, cleaning staff, all that kind of stuff. They've already got those sunken costs. So anything that they can do to get additional revenue on that vacant 30 or 40%, they'll do it. And really, there's hundreds or thousands of resorts and hotels around the world that are willing to do this. So they know that you're worth a couple $100 if you go into that room. So you as a business owner wins because now instead of we have the best price or we have the best customer service, it's like, no, we have a wow offer. We have an amazing, amazing incentive. We have an amazing reason to choose us. So we're still going to give you a great price. We're still going to give you great service, but for becoming our valued customer, we'd also like to reward you. And for this month only, we've got, a bonus 7 nights in Fiji as an example, that kind of stuff. So, and you'll make more profit out of it because you're not competing on price, and you'll also get more and more referrals. So I think you can start to see why this ends up going absolutely nuts. And the customer always wins because they're just stoked about it that they were going to do something anyway, and then they made that decision and they got a free holiday, free vacation. And then the viral component of this is nuts because they're literally telling everyone about you because everyone they know knows that they're going off to Vanuatu or Gold Coast or wherever it is they're going, and then they start telling people about it. And so just a viral nature of the business happens for you. Now, there's multiple ways of doing it. I'm going to break down, so to make it very, very usable, what's some main ways that you can do this, within your business? So 7 common ways. The first thing is buy our big ticket item. So whether it's like a $2,000 course, or buy a car, or if you've got a small business, like for example, a restaurant, it might be, it could be like a coffee club card, buy 5 or 10 meals with us and you'll get this kind of thing. It can't be a small ticket item. And the reason why is because it doesn't have believability. So if you say buy my $50 report and you're going to get a $1,000 vacation holiday, there's that doesn't have that believability about it. So that's why we want to associate it with big ticket items as a general rule. So buy this and get that, just as the bonus. The second one, within that mortgage industry that I showed you, is switch to us. So most people are focused on, the new people entering the market. But who has your competitors before you? Who has your customers before you? So it's your competitors. So one thing you can do is lure the competition away, and it's switch to us and get a free whatever. Does that make sense? So then you can basically target your competition. I used to swap ideas with this marketing consultant and a guy by the name of Tony McCausland. And he had this saying. He said, "What's the absolute worst thing that your competition can do to you? And do it to them." It's pretty smart, isn't it? It's pretty ruthless, but very, very smart. So this is this is playing the game at a completely different level. So this is switch to us and get a free whatever. And I've seen gyms, for example, doing this successfully. So mortgage industry, doesn't really matter. If someone else has got your competition, if you've got your customers, your competitors have got it, you can get them to come across with this kind of strategy. Okay, this one's used in e-commerce a lot. So say, for example, you got $30, $50, $70 type strategy, price points. So you need a strategy to come up with that. So that's where you can say X lucky customers this month are going to win, and whatever the trip is. And so then they're getting excited about it, and they're more likely to buy because they want to. People are actually sometimes more excited about the chance to win something than they are about the actual thing themselves. And then if they do win it, they're then telling everyone, "Hey, I won a free trip to Fiji," in this example, from your website. Okay, and then when the people do go away, you share their photos and their stories and you put it on your social media and it just starts spreading around and around and around. The viral component of this is absolutely nuts. Another one is urgency, especially for people who have got like longer sales cycles. And sometimes this happens in like the B2B space, but it also happens in B2C. An example, like a gym that was in Adelaide. So this guy, like the standard process in the gym is do our free trial and then say 7-day free trial or whatever, and then sign up for month to month. But then people might go for 2 or 3 months and then they quit. So what they did here was like increase the average order value and get scarcity and urgency in decisions. So what was better than like try it free and then go to month by month by month, there's like, get a 6-month membership and as a bonus, you'll get 3 nights in the Gold Coast or whatever it is, that kind of thing. So he increased the average order value and gave scarcity and urgency. So for example, for the month of November, if you do this, so people were thinking like, but it really got a spike by the end of the month because people were thinking about it, they're talking to the hubby, talking to the missus, whatever, and then at the end, they didn't want to miss out on the bonus. They didn't want to miss out on the free vacation. So that's a great way of doing it. Number 5 is you can reward your team. So there's rules around this, like with the service I'm going to show you, but you can make it part of their annual bonus where you're going to give them a trip, that kind of stuff. So it's not talking about flights, it's talking about the hotel room at a luxury hotel or resort. So you can make it, if they meet certain objectives, they can get this bonus. It's a great way of getting everyone excited and on board. The rules are you just can't give the same person more than 1 trip in 1 year. Okay. Number 6, I'm doing this with a tech startup that I'm doing at the moment, which is partner with us and we'll give you a free vacation, free holiday, that kind of thing. So that's a really, really great one. If they're thinking about it, they're not sure whether to go or not, people are getting across the line, just for this. So it's a really, really, really amazing. And number 7, and we've spoken about this already, which is just drive more profit. So we don't want to compete on price to the bottom. We don't want to slash our prices. We just want to drive more profit. So that's a great way to go. So this service that I was talking about is called marketingboost.com. Full disclosure, I'm a part owner in that organisation now. There's a URL there you can check out, marketingboost.com. Basically, the way that it works out is if you buy if you get a membership, whether it's monthly or annual, you don't have to pay for the holidays. We work that out with the resort. So if you give away 10 trips to customers this month, that doesn't cost you anything extra. So here, I'll show you how it works. So basically, you just choose a location that you think your customers would be wowed by. So with this, one thing I've learned from doing this all over the world is that if they're in this part of the world, don't give them a Hawaii vacation. You know what I mean? It's too much of a hurdle. If they've got to really shell out on flights for it, they're not actually going to use it. So while they might get that initial excitement, it's not as great as if you choose something for them that you still think is going to wow them, but it's got to be in your general geographical area. So you choose a location. So, for example, there's Australia, there's 4 locations. So Fiji, there's 2 locations. So you can see there are different numbers of days and nights. So Bali, Philippines, Boracay, so Vanuatu, which is popular, and then also 3 different locations in Thailand. So they're really the ones that are most relevant to you and your customers. There's a whole bunch of others. There's 50 different locations around the world, and that's going to be about to be closer to 100. And then so you just fill in a form for them, say, like it's a quick form from your company name, say put in their name, their email, their phone number, choose what country you want to give them a location, a holiday to, and what city within that. And then you might want to write them a custom message. Hey, thanks for becoming a valuable customer of us. I hope you have great fun on this trip. Please share a photo with us. We'd love that, that kind of thing. So you give it to them. And then, so if there's like a gotcha or a fine print, this could be the only one. At the moment where there's like fees and taxes. So say, for example, it's $200 or $300 a night. There's fees and taxes of booking through booking organisations and also like state and government taxes that can't be avoided. So, if, for example, if it's $200 or $300 a night, it might end up being $19 in taxes or $14 in taxes or something to that effect, or fees. And very soon you'll be able to actually pay that for your customer. It's probably a week or 2 off, but at the moment that goes to them. So, say for example, you gave them $1,500 vacation, they might $18 in fees. $80 in fees in taxes. That kind of stuff. So, but generally we have found that people don't really care about that because they're getting something like that for something like that. But definitely if you can pay it for them, even better. They then choose you've sent them that. They then go on, they choose like when they want to check in, then when they want to check out. You can see then there's nothing else to pay. They just, it's like using booking.com. They just go book it and then, yeah, that's it. It's very, very seamless process. Previously, it used to be all done by the phone, which is actually not a great user experience. Whereas what we've found is that the number of people redeeming vacations since we've changed, and it's really only changed in the last 2 months. And this has never been done anywhere else in the world before within the incentive-based marketing industry. It's actually the biggest change that's happened in that space ever. And then one thing we would say is like, don't go give this to your customers without trying it yourself. So say, for example, you're planning on giving it to your customers for the Bali trip. First one, give yourself the trip and then go on it, try it for free, give yourself the trip. And that way when you are speaking to your customers, you can show them like your photos or first-hand experience, say, I went, it's amazing, stay here, that kind of stuff. So, and the trip you can give yourself is on average valued 3 times higher than what your membership investment is for the year. So it kind of like pays for itself many, many times over. And then each of those vacations you give away, you don't have to pay for them either. So basically, like what I'm trying to show you here is that you can compete, you can do the same thing as everyone else and compete on price and compete on service, or you can think and act a little bit differently and really get into bonuses and incentives, which is what I do a lot more of, and give people a real reason to choose you and become the dominant player in your marketplace. If you're just getting started in business, this can really give you a really good head start. If you're an advanced marketer, this is really like throwing fuel on the fire, because if you apply this with really, really good YouTube ads and Facebook ads and all that kind of stuff, it just goes really, really nuts. So I hope you got some good value from that. Good food for thought. Thank you very much.
Check 1, 2. Thank you.